Hello, PascoMath grade 6 teachers. Today we're going to look at 6.RP.1.2. We're going to unpack the standard, look at what the teacher should be doing in the classroom, as well as what are the things students should be doing, and thinking of some misconceptions and how to address those. So let's get started. 6.RP.1.2 says, understand the concept of a unit rate, A divided by B, associated with a ratio, A to B, with b not equal to 0, and use rate language in the context of a ratio relationship. For example, the recipe has a ratio of 3 cups of flour to 4 cups of sugar, so there is 3/4 cup of flour for each cup of sugar. Another example in the standard is we paid $75 for 15 hamburgers, which is at a rate of $5 per burger, per one burger. So let's unpack that a little bit. This standard focuses on students learning on the concept of a unit rate, which is a special kind of ratio. So we want to connect 6RP11 here. Students compare different units of measure, such as amount of money earned to the hours worked while babysitting or mowing the lawn. And students understand a situation in ratio form and write the unit that describes the situation using appropriate rate language, such as per, or the symbol of like the / to compare different units of measure. So when looking at what the teacher should do, first thing is explore the difference between a ratio and a rate, and just really focus on the rates of special ratio that compares two quantities with different units of measure. So to do this, you can just share multiple examples from students that make sense of the rate. And so we could say things like, let's go, Zach babysat for $35 for 7 hours. So now we have a context. So Zach babysat for $35 for 7 hours. We also could have a different one. We could say Tracy's new truck got 400 miles per 20 gallons of gas. And so we have some context here, and we can start to get at rates. So our $35 for 7 hours, our 400 miles per 20 gallons, and we want to move to unit rate that expresses a ratio as part to 1. So students from 6RP11 already have experience with writing these as ratios. So for Zach's example, we could write it as 35 for 7 hours. But we want to get at we want to get at a part to 1 relationship. So how do we get from a part to 1? Really focus on making that second number 1. So we can simplify this. And so the numbers, we're using numbers that do work out, simplify nice. And so we can say this is really 5 to 1. And when we say 5 to 1, it's $5 per 1 hour. So just doing some labels that make sense of the context. In Tracy's example, we got 400 miles for 20 gallons. So I can write that as 400 to 20. And then again, if we want to focus on this part to 1 relationship here, we can write that as 20 miles to 1 gallon. So again, we're trying to get the part to 1. So showing students for unit rate, we want it per 1. So $5 per hour, 20 miles per gallon, per that 1. We also should ask students to locate and share real-world examples of costs per item or distance per time. They can use things like newspapers, ads, other forms of media to find a lot of examples of unit rate. Also model how to translate rates from fraction form to word form. So now let's look at what the students should be doing. They need to understand rate as a ratio that compares two quantities with different units of measure. Understand that unit rates are a ratio of two measures or quantities in which the second term means 1, such as 60 miles per 1 hour. Interpret rate language. Again, we're focused on math practice 6, attend to precision, not only with units, but when you're having speaking the math language. and also solve unit rate problems. Those are things students should be doing. As for the misconceptions, students often confuse the terms ratio rate and unit rate, and they use them interchangeably and often incorrectly. And so to address this misconception, after the conceptual understanding has been built, because that's very important through context, have them create a foldable with each term. The definitions in their own words need to make sense to them, and allow them to provide examples, and then also non-examples, so they can really make sense of what a ratio rate and unit rate are and what they are not. That's it for 6.RP.1.2. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me or your regional specialist. Thank you for making PascoMath more awesome.